Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. TikTok is definitely the big talk of the marketing world and the B2B world lately, especially with this new news of the Microsoft acquisition coming down the line. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. People use it, don't use it, benefits. So I basically, assembled a team of the entire funnel from the start of the creative process, from the marketing all the way through the sales process that closes it. And so I'm going to let everyone here introduce themselves, and then we're going to jump into talking about how to use TikTok for B2B marketing. Yael, do you want to start?
Me?
Yes, you.
All right, so I'm a senior strategist at Penguin. I have the pleasure, the honor, and the joy to work with David every day. And I'm looking forward to getting this conversation started. We're going to have some interesting views.
100%. Yoel?
What's up? My name's Yoel Israel. I'm a founder of Wadi Digital, B2B lead generation and LinkedIn first agency. And I think that's it for now. You'll know my opinion soon enough.
You were supposed to be joining us from a Camelback, weren't you?
Something like that. I'm in the Golan. I'm actually on a family vacation. If I go a few hours.
All right. Yael froze up because you have a mobile connection. Bridie, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Bridie. I'm a social media strategist. I run a company for small businesses.
All right. And David?
My name's David. I'm CEO at Whistle. We are an outsourced SDR agency. I'm aspiring to be the kind of person that the next time I'm introduced, I just say, you know who I am, and everyone just we'll get there.
Man needs no introduction.
The Robert Downey Jr. That's what he has.
Getting some echo here. All right, so basically we're all here to kind of discuss a little bit about what TikTok and how it could be used in B2B. I guess the first question is, does anyone here use it for personal marketing, having opinions on what it's
David, there's a lot of background noise. I think
I'll mute myself.
Okay, now we can hear you. Shoot.
Start again. Take two.
Yeah.
All right. So the idea is really to kind of jump in here, and I see Jonathan joined us also. Let me add him. There, and Jonathan, you want to introduce yourself?
Jonathan's on mute.
Jonathan, you're on mute. I'll unmute you. You're on mute, Jonathan.
All right, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we hear you.
Hi, sorry about that. Hi. Sorry, I was actually connecting through the computer. I just wasn't getting through. So where were we? I'm sorry.
Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself.
Oh my God, I'm the best at that. So hi, I'm Jonathan Kahn. I'm a creative strategist. I work in the high tech industry and with tons of different high tech companies. Live and breathe social media and everything that I can get my hands on. So this is actually a very interesting conversation for me. I mean, I'm trying to decipher what is going on with TikTok beyond what's going on in the news for a while now, and the B2B question is a fantastic question. So I consider it an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you here. All right, so I'm going to start off by kind of saying, a lot of TikTok is not has been branding itself as more of a millennial young person tool. We don't want old people on here. And I guess that's kind of the reason why it started off as nobody's, a lot of marketers are not even looking at it as a B2B channel. But have any of you had experiences using it in marketing in general before we go straight to B2B? You want to share?
Yeah, I've been working with a couple of different smaller businesses on developing a strategy. It's been not a smooth ride because it's a completely different framework, and it's a completely different app with a completely different set of tools. So the entry barriers are pretty high even for small personal brands. But it's been an experiment.
And what do you think? I mean, this is for everyone. What do you think the challenges are for a business to start using it? For a business to dig in and start using it.
I think the first one and the most important one with marketing and sales is you have to know your audience, right? And not every channel works for every audience. So, Bridie made a comment that I said, I'm using TikTok, and she's like, yeah, you're using on LinkedIn. I'm like, yeah, because that's where my buyers are, right? For Whistle, most of the people I pitch to are on LinkedIn. So I think that's really important. I don't think, I don't want to steer this too far off, but I don't think it's a channel for every brand to use all the time. I think it's going to work really, really well for some specific. We know how effective it can be for B2C for obvious reasons. There's massive virality there. I'm working with a company now in the food space, and food is like such a engaging, visual product. So that's awesome. Like potentially, like just like what Instagram's done, I just look at TikTok as something that's got more effects, more engagement, more virality. And so I think, number one, knowing your audience is going to make a huge difference in forming the strategy and asking the question if you should even be on TikTok or not.
Yeah, I think I want to add to what David is saying. I think that one of the specific industries that I have a lot of experience in is medical device. And when I work in traditional medical device, I would not recommend this platform to my B2B clients. But for aesthetic medical device, I definitely would, because that's like we're doing more of a B2B to C flow, and this is where you would want to be. Although, as I said to my David on that side at the beginning of the conversation, as a marketer, I see the potential in TikTok. As a mother, I can't stand it. So I'm trying to put my personal feelings aside and see what I can do with it.
That's so funny because as a mother, I'm just obsessed.
Oh, really? I can't. Every time my son gets on it, I'm like, okay,
I'm also
your phone
my.
All right, so I'm going to come out against, and I'm going to say I see absolutely no value for it in B2B. I think it's an absolute waste of time and resources when it comes to B2B, and even the challenges with B2C. Obviously, not to mention the immorality of even having it on your phone. And I've had it on my phone for a few months, and I've consumed it, and I enjoy it because, especially watching the guys that reminded of me when I was in high school. It's kind of nostalgic. We just didn't have cameras all the time, so I did enjoy that a lot. But the truth is, there isn't the targeting. You don't get to choose your interests and things that you like, at least currently, like on Facebook. So you don't have any of that advertising targeting, even from a B2C perspective, let alone B2B. I mean, you might have the virality, but you don't get to control what goes viral. And even though I think you might have used Facebook to log in, I can't say 100%. When I started using TikTok about a year ago, I didn't see any content that was related to me, my interests, and my likes. It was overwhelmingly just like provocative dances and really funny pranks. Right. So that's what I saw, and I enjoyed it, and I thought it was funny, but nothing was, let's say, related to my interests, my professionalism as a father, as a husband, where I live, or my father. A lot of things that define who I am. None of that content was at all curated for me. So I don't see it, at least from an advertising perspective. You don't have the targeting that you can do, not even for B2C in the current form. If you have extremely wide appeal, let's say like Coca-Cola, a lot of food, beverages that's extremely wide and young appeal, some clothing lines, then I see how why getting on TikTok from a B2C standpoint is absolutely valuable. But then, of course, there's also the moral thing about, the data and the Chinese Communist Party, getting all the data on you and your children and spying on you. That will come back to haunt you in your future, probably.
I feel like we should have some background music right now, like
I want to jump in here, and I just want to.
Go ahead.
2 points, Yael. On one level, I see what you mean about the demographic a year ago. Even for me, it wasn't so interesting. But even in the last 6 months or since Corona hit, the demographic has changed enormously. Like, I've seen it, I've felt it. We don't have any data on it yet, as Jonathan mentioned earlier in his chat with David, but it is changing, it is evolving. And I think that that's something we shouldn't ignore. Hold on, one more point. The other point is, you mentioned about targeting. And I don't know if you've used the TikTok advertising platform. They're rolling out more and more options over time. It's pretty new, but the targeting is on level with Facebook advertising. So, I'm seeing how 6 months ago, I would have said absolutely not, B2B, don't waste.
I think we lost you.
Yeah, you froze.
No,
it was her, not me. Okay.
Right.
I would have added, just to Bridie's point, the same kind of thing is that, there is more now available for you to use. in terms of like the targeting. There's also like, you know, trending hashtags, a lot of things like that. If you believe in organic, I also think that as every social media platform goes through these experiences of being ready hot and ready not, you've got to jump on trends. That's just part of how it is, right? LinkedIn right now in the B2B is huge, and it was like, you know, pretty dead. It's going through a massive renaissance. So I think TikTok will too. The other thing I will say, just on the data point, and I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but if you think by any stretch of the imagination that your personal data is safe on any other social media channel or any other free platform,
Any channel,
you're
anywhere.
horribly mistaken, right? It's, I mean, none of, just because it's an American with your data or a Chinese person. It's a very fair comparison because there's examples, real data breach examples that happen every single day, and none of the stuff is protected. If you're not paying for a platform, then you are the product, right? So they are selling every little bit of information they can get on you as best they can until they get caught.
I actually want to bring up a different concern about TikTok, and maybe I'm the only one thinking this, but let me know what you guys think. My concern with trying to recommend this to clients or to push it too much is that I have a genuine concern that, you know, TikTok today, TikTok gone tomorrow. I don't know. I mean, like LinkedIn, like you said, is evolving and having new trends, but LinkedIn is there. Facebook is evolving, new trends, whether we like them or we don't, but Facebook is there. TikTok, I mean, it was like when Snapchat came out and everybody was using Snapchat, and then where is Snapchat today? Like, if you
Instagram stories, right? Instagram stories killed Snapchat. So,
yeah,
but it's like Vine, right? Vine was massive. TikTok is basically, you know, the Facebook to Vine's MySpace, right? So that's what it is.
I would like
and part of it is going with it and staying up to date with the latest trends and being where your audience is. If the audience is bouncing ship from Facebook and going on to TikTok, then maybe you should explore that.
But you know, the B2B audience, you know, the B2B companies are looking for more long-term.
Yeah, but Yael, she brings up a good point. Is just because it's growing doesn't mean it's here to stay. Okay, because there's a lot of things. Anchor, we thought it was growing, didn't here to stay. Snapchat isn't, and for B2B, it's especially not. And they're as of now, and of course, they have to always expand their advertising opportunities and reach. That goes for all of the platforms, B2B, B2C. If you want to stay relevant and if you want to make money in order so you can be here for the long term, they better be expanding their targeting. Correct. So that's, of course, that's true for TikTok, and that's true for anything, whether it fails or succeeds, but it always needs to expand. But to say that just because data collection is the same as the Chinese Communist Party that collects data to put, Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps for years now, or how they're tracking their internal people and people can't speak up because they have video and audio from private conversations that they're having with one another, including private things, and find out where you're vulnerable, and they use that against you privately, and they reach out to you. If you think maybe one of your kids might be a public figure and they might be, let's say, critical to the genocides going on of the Uyghur Muslims in China, then now they will use that against you to silence you. And they're doing that now, and it's actively happening in Hong Kong. It's actively happening to the people in China. It's actively happening to a lot of minorities there. And since that, where the Chinese Communist Party said how they want to take over all of us, and they want all of us to be subservient to the Chinese Communist Party, everyone in the world, that we need to keep that in mind to see what they're going to do to their own people. They're going to do a lot worse to those that they consider enemies and adversaries and in their way of their goals. And they've done this. Doing this.
I respect.
I'm just saying, collecting data.
I agree with you.
Google collect data. It's not the same. It's not the same as the Chinese Communist Party out there to destroy you. They want to monetize on you, Google and Facebook. But there's different.
I agree with what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying also on a moral level and all that stuff. I'll bring that particular point more to our discussion. And whereas there may be many B2B companies, especially bigger ones, that because of that don't want to be associated with the platform. And then we have to think about that. But I'm not talking on the personal level now, that if my son wants to be an ambassador to China one day, I don't know, but I'm not going there. But on a B2B level, there may be some companies who are careful and don't want to be associated with that. And then that's where we should take it into consideration, as opposed to the, how they're tracking and silencing and so on. I think that's a little bit more relevant to this particular conversation, right?
We just had I agree with you. We've just had a really interesting comment. I don't know if others can see it, was on LinkedIn. And Rosie brings up the fact that TikTok allows brands to connect with their younger buyers, and this is something that I really wanted to touch on because at the end of the day, Gen Z, the oldest Gen Zs right now are 23. 23-year-olds are business owners, and they are people that are, and they are college graduates. They are part of our grown-up universe. They are as grown up as me and you. And I think just because it's a young platform, or originally was a young platform, certainly demographic, like I said earlier, is spanning now into the boomers. But I don't think we need to completely disregard it from a business perspective just because the audience is slightly younger. And I just think that that's really important to highlight. And Rose is right. That's not something to be ignored.
Can I state two things? So I'm sorry. By the way, first of all, I apologize for my camera. I don't know what's happening. In the beginning, it just showed yellow. But let me just state a couple things. So one, I was talking to as many people as possible to try to collect as much information about TikTok and the current audience post-corona. And it's definitely not the young group that we thought it was anymore. There are definitely a lot older people that are on there. We know that because we're part of the people who are on there. We're not, I wouldn't say that we're Generation Z, and we're definitely not, we're on there. We're looking at the content. That's number one. Number two, I also want to point out, besides the whole side of like, and I said this before with David, like I spoke to a cybersecurity company that was actually doing a fantastic presentation to all their workers to let them know about what's going on with TikTok. Should they be afraid? Should they let the kids on there? What's happening? And they talked about not only TikTok, they also talked about Face app. You remember that one that lets you make an old version of you, and how basically it's spyware for Russia and all this other stuff. Now, I don't want to get too like into conspiracy and like look like a loony on the internet. Like there's enough of those out there. But at the same time, like, I did remove it for my kids, like iPads and stuff like that. I wanted them to kind of like, let's see how this goes. But one of the things that he said that I thought was really clever was he said, great, so it will become an American company, and then America never spies on anyone. Yeah, so that's like the funny thing that, they were mentioning.
It's not the spying, it's how it's used.
What?
It's how the spying is used.
Oh, of course. No, it's just about who you trust to spy on you more.
Against you as an American citizen. The Chinese
it's about who you trust to spy on you more. That's it, right?
Just not apples and oranges.
No.
Against them both.
I mean, I'm ready.
But the general idea is like, I definitely don't want China with all my information. But on the side of B2B, if I was looking at it as a platform for B2B marketers, I really, really tried to crack down and figure out what companies could be on there. And one of the ones that I came up with would be Honeybook. Right now, obviously this is a theoretical discussion at this point because they're not on the platform. But this could be the type of B2B company who could create content there, being that they are aiming at freelancers, right? Honeybook is, whoever doesn't know, Honeybook is an amazing company that allows freelancers to manage all their business, all the communications, the pipeline, and everything all through one place. And I started thinking this could be a very cool opportunity for them to kind of connect with people. On the side of what kind of content they create there, that's already up to the creativity, right? That's about like really sitting down and cracking down how we're gonna, right. What do we resonate about our brand? And we can definitely see with other companies that branding, there's an opportunity for branding there. If for anything, just mostly on the sense of making it more approachable, right? I'm coming down to your level. I'm showing you that we know how to dance. We're people too. We have fun. We, connect to trends. And in that sense, you can make it seem more hip and connected. But I just wanted to mention all that stuff because it's the stuff that I was going through, like while looking and thinking B2B marketing on TikTok, where does this have a room? I don't think that lawyers who do videos from TikTok are like killing it, Well,
it comes down to two parts really. First of all is, when you're starting off, where is your audience? And then the second part is the creative and how do you communicate with them? So the first question, which is your audience on TikTok? And I think Brady touched on that earlier, is we do have business owners that are 21, 22. We do have people that are on there. And also one thing to, one step further is if you're a B2B to C and your C is on there, then your B in the middle should also be on there looking for them. If you're talking about, NFL scouts, they're probably looking at the sports channels from what college kids are doing in sports to try to find new talent. And so if you're trying to sell a sport community platform to these coaches, they're probably on TikTok because they're looking for talent on there.
Why do you think coaches are on TikTok looking for talent? They have scores of scouts all over, and there are better ways than there are other platforms that's like internal just for athletes and universities for them to find talent. And there's lots of video of all college and even high school sports. I don't know why what would they find on TikTok that they wouldn't otherwise. And to Jonathan's point, he went into B2B, and I want to hear more from him because seems like he gave this a lot of thought regarding the B2B marketing. He's saying like to freelance is more like B2C. You're usually one person, or like B to very small b, you know what I mean, like a very common denominator. But if if you're B2B, if you want to reach, let's say, a certain job title or a certain job function, or if you want to reach a certain other company or an industry or location, a lot of these things are difficult. You don't have that targeting advertising yet. I understand they want to get there. Obviously, everyone does. You don't have that targeting. Facebook doesn't even have that targeting so well. So I don't really see where that B2B is beyond Google and LinkedIn. I mean, for B2B, I mean, we should be talking first about Facebook, which targeting for B2B, in my opinion, is poor. And since the whole Cambridge Analytica so-called scandal a couple of years ago, a lot of their B2B targeting sucks. There's Twitter, there's Quora, there's Reddit. These are all of the things. If anything, you should put your money, your budget, your energy, and the cost of making creatives on TikTok is very, very high. You often might probably have to bring someone in-house that's extremely talented, very good, a very unique kind of creative person. But this also creative person also really needs to know your business, and especially if you're B2B, predominantly technology, it's very hard to find this person or to make a team. And since you can't really target your target companies, or let's say if I want to target CISOs or whoever I want, there's no way to do that on TikTok now, and at least not in the near future. So I don't see at all why we should be talking about TikTok and B2B when we should be talking more about other than Google and LinkedIn, of course, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit and Quora should all come before that.
I don't agree that LinkedIn would be the premier place to target other businesses, right? I don't disagree with that, absolutely. And if you have limited time and resources, absolutely. But we're talking about businesses here that may well have resources and may want to move into, capitalizing on a. I don't even want to say new platform, because at the end of the day, I do think it's here to stay. And I think we're past the new phase, and we need to start recognizing it as an established social media platform. The user base is enormous, and it is growing, and maybe it'll go away tomorrow, but maybe it won't. So yes, LinkedIn, sure, of course, targeting wise, number one, networking and who you can connect with and how you can reach out to people. Amazing. But, this is not about, whether TikTok or LinkedIn is the better thing for B2B. It's whether there is a place for B2B on TikTok. And I think we have to remember that, at the end of the day, people in businesses, people in B2B businesses are humans, which we've already understood, but also they don't make decisions as logically as we think they do. Just because they're suddenly in business head doesn't mean now I'm going to think about all these buying decisions in a logical manner. Like, that's not how they work. They work with their emotions and they work with their feelings first, just like every other consumer on the planet. So, where TikTok is really interesting is that we can really bring, and I'm not saying that, a company might find this easy. It would definitely take some brand voice work. It would take some altering. It would definitely take bringing in someone with a little bit of talent, creative vision for it. But, there's so much that can be done there. Employee ambassadors, user-generated content, like there's just so much that can be done. Like, I'm super excited about it. Is it the number one place for B2B? No, LinkedIn is. I agree with you. But is there space on TikTok? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we have to make a clear divide between branding and actually bringing in business, because I was
just going to say that.
Great. Absolutely. That's good, because I do think we have Gary Vee there, and if Elon Musk goes on and he starts making content, we're all going to watch it. It's all great, and that emotional connection is definitely part of that branding side. But on the other side, what Yael is saying is definitely true. We don't have enough. And not to say that I get this so much from LinkedIn. Again, I'm not advertising on LinkedIn, but when I create content, I'm not getting enough information to understand how much people are watching my videos, like where they're dropping off. I get these weird, the new panel that they created doesn't make any sense to me at all. But there's an opportunity, like we can resonate with people in a branding side. That's for sure something you can do on TikTok, especially if you have a company that has someone who represents it.
So I think we can definitely look at TikTok as a supporting platform for the lead generation efforts that we do on platforms like LinkedIn.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because I think
I agree, branding better than business.
I think that
they're not all there.
So I think that for the right audience, for the right company that has that their audience could be there. Okay, again, we talked about this at the beginning, targeting like the right people. If their audience could be there, this is additional brand awareness. It's another place where they have some visibility. So when they do have that conversion action to take on LinkedIn or where it may push them over to do it. And I think that in that sense it could work.
Can I just add one point before you challenge it, Yael, because I think it will be part of the points for you to challenge, is again coming back to, you know, my first point, that it's all about your audience, right? If you're a creative marketing agency selling to other businesses, then yeah, it's a really important channel to get your brand out there, and that will directly result in people engaging and saying, hey, I see you got an epic TikTok channel and Instagram presence and Facebook presence, and you guys definitely know what you're doing. You're a media company. I mean, Gary Vee, okay, he's everywhere, so it doesn't count almost. But you know, for businesses like us, I don't think it's a bad thing, especially if you focus on using it as like a voice. I also work with 2 companies in the video space, and I know the power of video. It's a very, very powerful medium. There's a huge difference between if we were all doing this as like a just pure voice and no screen versus being able to see people and the effects and all the other fun stuff that you can add. It is engaging, and ultimately what you want, at least at the top of the funnel, is at least people paying attention to your brand. Because the biggest problem in business is no one knows who you are, right? Yeah. The second biggest problem is converting those people who know who you are to give you their money, right? And I think that if we only look at like one element and try to apply it to every business, it's going to fail. Is TikTok going to be used for SaaS businesses or, you know, pitching CTOs and CISs? No, you never. But would I be shocked if Gong started hosting some of their employees on TikTok and giving like a day in the life at Gong, and they've got all their music and whatever, or brands who are like that, who are like so engaging in the space, sell to marketing and sales pros anyway? No, and it would probably work really well. I don't think any of us would be like, what is Gong doing here, right? And they're a B2B company. So,
but I think the question is, will that bring business for Gong? So then, like, that's the idea of B2B marketing, right? Branding definitely.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? And the comment you brought up for a second, I think his name was Jeffrey. I think he was echoing Yael's comments. Yael's comments. So like my question is Penguins, you guys, you don't have to say who. Are you using TikTok for any of your B2B clients?
We are not at the moment. Not that I know.
Okay. Can you name what you have? Many great B2B tech clients. We know that you have a wonderful clientele. You guys do great work. Which client do you think? Can you name 3 of your clients that you can do proper targeting? That your money in creative and advertising, or organic, whatever you want, your money in the creative is better spent there for your B2B tech clients than any other platform at any time? Or can you name 2 of your clients that you think you could start rolling TikTok out for next month? Because no one, with the exception of Jonathan, no one tried to give any examples on how you can use B2B.
So yeah, I can give you, I mentioned this at the beginning, not with Penguin specifically, but in my previous life before working with Penguin, I would definitely recommend TikTok to aesthetic medical device companies that sell to clinics, physicians, and have the content for their patients be put on there. I think that would be fantastic. Treatment, testimonials.
What's the target audience? Target audience is patients?
The target audience, it's a B2B to C flow.
Okay, but I mean,
right?
Okay, but I mean,
yeah, but that's what we're saying. There's 2 things that I think we have to take into consideration, Yael, is that we're not saying that TikTok should replace any other platform that we work.
Of course, we're all in agreement.
Can it complement? Can it add to? Right, and that's one thing to remember. And the second point to remember is that, again, as we mentioned at the beginning, it's definitely not relevant. Like David was saying, it's not relevant to everyone. I'm not going to go and target the CTO of no way. Like, it's not the place. It's not for that. But if you do have a particular company that's big into consumer affinity, or it's big into that kind of brand awareness, then I definitely see it, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and David knows I can't believe I'm saying this. I definitely see it as a good supporting tool to the other digital efforts that are being done.
Well, also, one more thing.
How much would it cost?
Brand awareness. Like brand awareness is, the very top of the funnel for me. And I think what's interesting in this conversation is that we, all come from very different perspectives. Like, there are a few people here who are very in lead gen, inbound, outbound. Like I come from a social media strategy perspective. I come from a social media strategy content marketing perspective. So you know, for me, the majority of the work I do is in the how can we bring people into the top of the funnel, grow your audience, and bring them down the funnel into becoming customers. And I have to say, like the majority of my client base are smaller businesses, but many of them are B2B companies. And at the end of the day, like, you know, that approach to marketing is very, very effective. And there's no reason that just because it could be like a supporting brand awareness tool, that it doesn't mean that it can actually convert. Like I truly believe that it can convert, just like any other platform.
Honestly, on that point, I'm going to side with Yoel. And
I'm looking for examples.
I don't buy it. I don't think
hear any B2B. Yeah, I don't hear any examples of what works. And by the way, I do a lot of organic content marketing. I've been doing it for a long time. I was one of the first on Twitter. I was Jonathan knows I was like the first on Snapchat. I was hardcore on Snapchat. I was hardcore on LinkedIn, organic for me, my company. I've been doing lives on LinkedIn for over 2 years. I do a lot of ads. That's how I make that's our business. There's a lot of ads, but I do a lot of organic content and I know what's there and I understand these algorithms very well. I don't understand TikTok. I haven't created content on TikTok. I've consumed a lot and I uninstalled it in January, I'll be honest, before COVID. But I just don't see how any lead gen, I understand the power of branding. I have a very strong brand personally and my company. I've been able to do that and we continue to do that. So I understand it, but I still see any penny you set into, it's expensive to create that content because video is emotional. It's expensive. We understand. I know its power. I create video all the time. So, I mean, but I don't see how you're not making another video for Instagram or that video for LinkedIn or that video for YouTube, remarketing. YouTube, probably the most inexpensive ways to get video out for branding than any other platform, by the way. I don't know, like, there's so many better ways if you're even going to make video or anything, if you're even wanting to go the video route. TikTok is like not even close to even to making that impact.
Yeah,
because you can't.
But you remember
it doesn't even have those communities.
But do you remember like LinkedIn? You remember LinkedIn in the beginning, like not the beginning of LinkedIn. Beginning of LinkedIn was I have a place to put my CV. So all of a sudden LinkedIn it was the wild west of CVs. No one really cared. It was very dry. All of a sudden someone put a freaking image or a video. Someone went, "Holy crap, there's color." And they like all of a sudden
they did the opposite. They said this doesn't belong on LinkedIn. I was one of those people, and they still tell me today.
Exactly.
I take what most people put on Facebook and I put on LinkedIn. I don't even put it on Facebook.
When you used to do it.
For years I was doing this, and people then I get less of it now, but I still get it today. Why this doesn't belong on LinkedIn? Okay, I know, I understand we're branding. I'm an early adapter for marketing, and I have that reputation to back that up. But I still don't see from a B2B strict. B2B tech. I don't mean B2B to C. Not to mention the advertising isn't there, and not to mention there isn't the way to organize, and I can't quickly reply in text. All the replies are videos. It makes it very difficult. And there's a lot of.
I agree on that sense, but the thing that we're weighing out here is not the fact that they're not optimized to really do this. Of course, they're not optimized to really do it. They don't have any of the tools that we really need to do it. The only thing that we're trying to say here is that right now, TikTok as a B2B marketing is the wild west of nothing. Like it's just empty fields of nothing, right? If you're the first person there doing it right, just like you said, early adapting, coming there and figuring out how to do it right and making sure that it's the right, as I said, Honeybook for me was a good match in my head because I'm looking at a target audience of around, let's say I'm saying freelancers. I could probably see a lot of people who are about 25 to 30 that are freelancers who have their own businesses or starting their own thing. If I was trying to approach them there, that might be a place that they are, and that I would be alone. I would be alone. It would be up to me. It would be that would be so cool. And I'm sure beyond that, and we both know this, that if you're on a platform and you're actually doing it and you're making something and the platform's going, oh my God, like I like to imagine that the guys at LinkedIn, when they saw even your piece of content that went up there, they were like, holy, what? We could do this? This could work. Don't touch anything. And then they just let them keep doing it. That's how I like to imagine it went down for LinkedIn. The same thing I'm imagining for TikTok. The moment you're a company who's successfully doing it on there, they will boost you up. They'll show you off.
If you're an early adapter, I agree, but they'll boost you up. But if WalkMe went on there and suddenly they'll boost you up, sorry, the people consuming TikToks aren't on WalkMe. Your WalkMe's money would have been better spent on almost any other platform, including Snapchat, rather than TikTok. I want to make one disclaimer. if Microsoft ends up buying TikTok, I do have this feeling, and I've been saying this for a while. They own Bing, they own LinkedIn. Bing, right? Those search engines, at least those ads are served, and people are using Outlook, MS Office. It's very B2B. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to find ourselves eventually in a place where Microsoft is kind of like the B2B to Google, where they got a little bit of the search, they got the LinkedIn, and if they buy it, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of try to make it more B2B. And then obviously, I think that would change. I think Microsoft buys TikTok. I think that's a total game changer, and I totally see Microsoft making some potential with its synergy with Bing and LinkedIn to maybe becoming more B2B, because I do think Microsoft has a much greater strategy than what most people think.
Well, that was my next question. Your main objection is really the targeting and reaching the right people. But once Microsoft buys,
my number one objection is the Chinese Communist Party.
Right,
I just want to be very clear. That's my number one.
He's very clear about that.
No, it's a moral issue.
The whole point of Microsoft buying it is to put that out of the way on the front, the political front, and seeing how Facebook bought Instagram, and all of a sudden you're running your ads through Facebook for Instagram. If you could start using LinkedIn targeting for TikTok, then what do you think?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. It's a very different approach, and I think that like the concept right now, if we look at TikTok for a second, TikTok is an area for creativity to like kind of go a little more crazy. Again, I don't really, if we really get into the discussion of TikTok and the creation of TikTok and why people feel so comfortable there, it's because it kind of gives you all the tools to have very little talent but look really, really good. Like my 5-year-old can kill it on TikTok at the level of Norkel or any of these pop singers here in Israel. So I'm like fine with that. But like I obviously don't think that the content directly matches like the way that it's done. But we definitely see the other way around. We see people being influenced by TikTok content and bringing that onto LinkedIn. I've seen a lot of these pass the baton through Zoom kind of videos, which is all based off of like stuff you see on TikTok. I also seen some people use TikTok on LinkedIn where they're like they're saying their message by pointing out boxes according to music that pop up near it, right? Which again is taking some sort of creative from TikTok and putting it there. When it comes down to the content creation of what we might see again, it's a long shot. And also what you keep asking, which is very interesting, is you keep saying, okay, but it's going to cost a lot of money to create video content. It's not going to cost the same amount of money as creating an ad on YouTube and stuff. It's good. You're going to have a person who's generally young in your office, who's very much on TikTok, and you're just going to have them go and do it. And you're going to have them like kind of define some ideas of what they're thinking of doing and go at it. The same way that we probably did it on Snapchat, right?
So then, Jonathan, let me ask you a question.
But you can't reach. I'm just saying. No, sorry, he just chimed in. I just want to say one thing. Look, I agree with what you're saying, Jonathan. I still think almost any effort. Look, if you have unlimited budgets, yeah, sure. Why not be there? Be everywhere. Take out billboards. You're right. You know what I mean? Like taking out billboards in Silicon Valley and Tel Aviv is far more effective from a B2B tech targeting than it is making content on TikTok.
Again,
I'm just saying, if you want to prioritize dollars, I'll give it to 10 platforms before I put it on TikTok.
So speaking of budget, I have a question from those of you who have used it, who actually used the advertising, because I haven't used it yet. But how do you see it fare in terms of the actual ad cost? Forget about the generating of the content. Do you find it to be?
I haven't run any campaigns. I've just been playing around with the targeting options there, so I couldn't tell you how it fares, cost per click and stuff like that. But I do want to pick up on something you all said earlier. He said the word algorithm, and TikTok a couple of weeks ago announced that they were going to make their algorithm transparent, which means they were going to announce to the world exactly how they're going to rank content and how people can capitalize on that. So, hey, like that's my thing, and that's
you have to admit.
Thing.
You have to admit that sounds a little like when you put out like they're using.
I just want to say
they're going to make all our information transparent. They're going to make all our information transparent.
I think there was a girl in Baltimore got kicked off of TikTok or got shadow banned because she said something against the Chinese Communist Party. And people in Hong Kong don't get to use TikTok. I think when it comes to transparency, that's not exactly accurate. Everyone's called PR. I'm familiar with this. People will say what they want to say. And as an advertiser, or like any of us, we all make social content. We don't highlight the negative things, right? We only highlight the great things, right? right?
No,
So I'm not going.
You're looking at this with a really, really like you've got your moral perspective on TikTok, and I totally respect that and I totally appreciate that. But again, like that's not maybe that's the conversation you want to have, but I don't feel like that's what the conversation here we should be having.
I addressed the other conversation. I addressed the marketing.
Should capitalize, and if they should on it, and from a, maybe they're being, pulling a PR stunt or not. But if they do make their algorithm transparent, and that enables the likes of me to really understand in a way that no one has ever been able to understand about social media before. We've made assumptions, we've run testing, we've heard rumors, we talk about it all day long, but no one really actually knows how Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram really is treating our content. And if TikTok were to make the algorithm transparent, that would enable businesses to really capitalize it.
Yeah, but I think that you should. I mean, like common sense. We know that as much as they'll make it transparent, they're going to make what they want to make transparent to keep us
Correct.
quiet
No, I
as
agree with
possible.
that.
No one's going to give you the recipe to the secret sauce. Like, it's not going to happen.
Right. Wait, did anyone here advertise on TikTok? Is anyone here that I know I'm the only one that's anti-TikTok? I get it, but are any of you ever advertised on TikTok? Any of you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No. I don't know.
I can't say that.
You have.
But I'm more of a
No.
user.
Let me. I haven't advertised on TikTok, but I want to just share something. I think that we're falling into this argument that I don't think is fair, which is basically to try and discuss TikTok as this all-encompassing, useful platform. And I think that is a huge mistake. I sold EdTech for a long time, and no one in the education space is on LinkedIn. They don't care. I can't get hold of them on LinkedIn. But everyone in sales and marketing is all over LinkedIn, right? That's what all they do. So when I was in EdTech, it was a complete waste of my time. And I know I'm going through the same argument again, but it feels like you're going through the same argument again. So my answer still stands. The other thing is that from my perspective, coming at it from the world of getting attention a little bit deeper down the funnel that you guys are in, it's really hard to get people's attention. And I look at TikTok as an amazing and easy to use content creating tool where you can save the content, you can have a rep, just like Vidyard have done, right? And if Microsoft does buy it and they integrate it with Outlook, and you can somehow drop a TikTok video into your email message and not use it to spam someone, but maybe it's a customer. Hey, I wanted to celebrate the win. I know you're right. We're talking about B2B. We didn't say specifically top of the funnel. Maybe it's to close a deal. Hey, what happened to you? You disappeared. And you've got a little something that at least gets them to go, oh, yeah, that was actually hilarious. And I've done similar outside of TikTok that have worked. I've created GIFs. I've created I've sent jokes, all of this stuff that gets people's attention and gets them go, so sorry, I've ghosted you for forever. I also think for leads that have gone through the funnel, got bored of all your marketing content and just forgot about your brand, it can come in there. The issue is if you look at it's like I think it was Einstein, or at least it's kind of a credit to him. If you judge a fish on its ability to fly, then it's never going to work. And so it's the same kind of thing. Many of us in our businesses would probably do really well. Like Bridie, if she started a hashtag influencer, social influencer thing on TikTok, how to take advantage of it, blah, 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 you'd probably get a ton of customers, but it might not work for everybody. And I feel like you're missing that point. And with regards to data, I respect that. I'm sure all of us have similar concerns, but my only answer to that is I have the same concerns about every platform that I'm on. And unfortunately, you don't know what you don't know. And the only times we've ever found out about how much data is available on us is through all of these breaches and scary cases, which, by the way, happened with American companies who own these things, right? We know the Facebook Analytica scandal. It's huge, right? We know that, by the way, when you're talking about censorship, and this, by the way, is in no way like me taking any sort of political stance, but we know that certain platforms, if you have a certain political opinion, you can get blocked, right? Of Twitter, it happens all the time, right?
And Facebook too.
Facebook as well.
Happens all the time.
They just did it to Breitbart. They basically Google just deleted just deleted it.
They just delete you. They can just silence you if they want. And it's a huge issue with social media platforms because they're supposed to just be a platform and they're becoming curators. And whether it's the Chinese, the Russians, the Americans, the Brits, whoever it is, I get it. They can do worse things. We don't know. And it's like choosing between the lesser of evils. And if you're really, really worried about your safety on the internet, which is a legitimate thing to worry about, you probably should get off it, because there is no one that can guarantee any of your data is going to be safe. It's just the truth. It sucks.
Of course, nerd data isn't safe, but the difference is the American government, not a private company. I mean, I know.
Weren't they spying on their citizens? Wasn't that the whole
no, let me finish it. I didn't interrupt you. I want to address what you said, because you brought up some really good points, and I want to agree with many of them, and I want to talk about some nuances and some that you brought up. I mean, so there's a lot of differences between. There's a big difference between the way between corporations and governments, and there's a big difference between, I mean, the Chinese government, which literally puts people in death camps and literally kills people on the spot to harvest their organs, and is using data from TikTok and similar data from the parent company, ByteDance, to do this against human rights abuses. I don't mean banning, which I'm against, shadow banning. I'm a free speech absolutist, if anyone knows me. I think everyone should be on, no matter how, every individual should be able to be on any platform. That's my personal opinion. But this same data and this technology by the same parent company is being used with the Chinese Communist Party to literally kill people, silence innocent people and minorities. And I'm against that. And I don't want that coming and being now to not even, that's their own people. Now we're talking about to other countries that they even think are their enemies, and I'm just against that. So I'm against, obviously, the data and the spying and all that by American corporations. But the way that is used and the power that the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government has is not nearly as comparison, like what can he actually physically do to you, take your life, is not the same than, let's say, Google and Facebook, which I strongly disagree with what they do for censorship. It's too. I mean,
isn't there that guy Edward Snowden? Isn't that the whole Edward Snowden thing, right? That he exposed the NSA and how they were spying on all their citizens and listening in on social media and in bed with Facebook to share all that private data. This stuff happens. It sucks, right?
But that's not. But Facebook isn't putting people in Chinese. They're not seeing your data, seeing if you disagree with them, and they're going to come kill you, take your organs, and sell them and export it. They just found 16 tons of hair. From Uyghur Muslims for concentration camps. I'm just saying, there's the moral comparison between corporations and communist parties.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I suggest we're like really off topic.
I suggest
I didn't bring it back.
A TikTok account to buy organs. That's what I'm saying. Let's make a TikTok account where you can B2B. I sell organs to medical.
A barter economy. Yeah.
Back to the initial point, Yael. So that means TikTok is a direct B2B channel into the Chinese government. You want to sell them something, they're listening.
I know they are. They already hate me. Don't worry. There's a lot of dirt on me. I go.
It all comes back to who your audience is. I mean, one of the things we mentioned earlier is, you don't have, older people are on LinkedIn. We're talking, late 20s and up are on LinkedIn. A lot of younger people are not on LinkedIn. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we see this a lot. When you're trying to market, the CISO doesn't care about what you're marketing. The CISO tells his interns to put together a report with the 10 companies that do what he's looking for, and then come to him with a report. And then he'll look through those 10 companies.
Well, you gave a really interesting example, because you're talking about CISO, you're talking about cybersecurity, and you're definitely not going to find them on TikTok. So let's put that aside. That's for sure.
That would be great.
The more you look into it, it's like, yeah. But you bring up but that's branding. I mean, I know the added value and Brittany, if I said your name correctly, she's correct. I mean, the branding strategy is great. So you might say, first off, CISOs do fill out things, not nearly as much as they don't tell them. They see it in their feed and they know they're targeting. They can tell someone else in their team to go download that piece of content or whatever it is, or to go see it for themselves. They will be clicking on ads anyway when you target them, and they will be downloading. You might be sending it to someone else to read. So you can be targeting them, and they will be. Now, of course, if you can target everyone in an entire company, like a TikTok, or if TikTok could do that, then from a branding perspective, I think it's huge. I think if you play that branding game towards that company or the kind of companies that you're targeting, and you know what I mean, a little bit of content there, and then you're going hard on the lead generation efforts on LinkedIn and Google and other things, I think it can play very supportive branding role.
And conversion, right? It's I think I had a point there that everyone sort of nodded at. Conversion content. It's great.
I'm not 100% sold on the conversion content, but that time is going to tell. As more and more people start advertising.
Well, this is now. I mean, my opinion will change in 3 months, as everyone will. But
so
I mean, with David, what do you mean?
I meant like similar to what Vidyard's doing. If you can drop use TikTok as a content creation platform with all of those special effects, features, sounds, etc., and drop that in, let's say, like an email to a prospect that's gone dark, to someone who's later on in the marketing funnel, to a lead that's gone dark in the sales funnel. I mean, I just sent this. Okay, this is a bit of a weird one, but I sent it over Instagram, and I sent a TikTok message to Marco Michieli.
Yeah.
Because I already want a meeting with the guy and I want to speak in his language, right? So I sent him a TikTok of me asking him to chat. So it might work really well with him, Marco, if you're paying attention.
Probably not, because we're on LinkedIn,
probably
not TikTok,
not.
right?
No, but he's on LinkedIn too, right? But I'm just saying you can use it. It's another tool in the arsenal, and it's just about how you use it. That's all.
So you're saying using it as a platform to create content?
I mean, for me, in my world, that's how I'm using it.
Yeah,
and that's great for now until the tools that they allow us to, actually swipe up kind of thing.
Exactly.
To like go and sign up to a page or get some sort of landing page of your ads in there that it can actually, fill in a form until that comes out. But I also think that when I looked at the situation and I came up with the idea of saying Honeybook, I think that makes a space for us to look at it and say, wait, there is a company who could theoretically be using it. And maybe it would be harder to get the conversion, but at least they would be using it for branding and hit the right market, the right target audience. Again, it just turns around and says which companies currently have a target audience of 20 again, I'm not aiming at the younger kids who don't have companies, but like 20, let's say around 20 till 30, I would guess, 35 on TikTok right now, who I could turn around and say, create content that has to do with running my own freelance business. I'm pretty sure if you did right now an account that had to do about the crazy stuff that happens having a freelance business, you would get a whole bunch of people who would subscribe to just the funniest stuff that happens while you have that. And if you were at Honeybook, you would be hitting your target audience. Mm-hmm. So I do think that there's, if I could come up with one, and it only took me, again, I like in between work, I'd say a couple hours, I'm sure I could find more companies that could fit into that equation.
But that rings true with what David was saying, that it's not an end all be all solution. You plug it into where you think it'll work and where it's needed, and I think that makes
but again, in the Honeybook situation, I don't need to use the content outside of the platform. I'm creating the content in the platform. I'm creating a page where I'm talking to people who have the struggles of being a freelancer. Specifically now, when you see all the different strikes and all these huge demonstrations right now from freelancers and stuff, we're trying to say, hey, I want to keep my business open and this is crazy difficult. Creating a thing like that, I'm sure these people are on TikTok right now. So I'm sure they'll be able to see it. I can create a following, and Honeybook is a great opportunity theoretically for TikTok. If we look at it and we just think a little bit harder, I'm sure we can find other ones. And if Honeybook, and then again, everything you guys said is correct. It's going to be difficult. There's a whole bunch of challenges. But if I can bring Honeybook and Honeybook can work, then the answer is, can you do B2B marketing on TikTok? If you're Honeybook, you can. So the answer is yes in some way. It might not be appropriate for everyone, but there is a window. And that window will let you be on a platform first, which is nice. Right?
Yeah, I agree. If you're trying to sell to a business whose audience is on TikTok, that means that the business, the marketing people, whoever, the salespeople are on TikTok because they're looking for their customers on there. That's where they're spending their time. They're not on LinkedIn because they're too busy TikToking, looking for prospects, creating content, whatever, to do that B2C business.
When I go to TikTok rather than LinkedIn, it's because I want to catch you off guard. I want to approach you from a different perspective. That's what I'm doing. And that means you put on your business hat. I'm on LinkedIn, and now you're on TikTok. You're sitting down, you're chilling. You're maybe in the bathroom, maybe just lying in bed, whatever it is. You're just scrolling through the infinite scroll of TikTok. And if I approach you in that sense and get you to see that as a company, as a brand, I have a humoristic perspective of what you're going through, and I understand your struggles, that is a place for me to grab you and convert you. That is a place for me to be able to lead you into becoming a business that uses Honeybook.
Listen, comparing it.
That's funny because that's what I do when I'm on LinkedIn. That's where I can.
Comparing it to the real world, where you have a lot of situations where LinkedIn is the office and the boardroom where you're having these serious conversations, and TikTok is the after hours bar where half the deals are closed.
I think
that's what Chris said.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Everyone goes to pre-pandemic. Everyone went to bars. Now most of your target audience is not on TikTok. at the current state. I mean, by the way, if Microsoft buys TikTok and it's secure, I'm on it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'll be there. I'm gonna see what
Are you gonna dance?
Like, am I a what?
Are you gonna dance?
Am I gonna dance? No. No, I'm a really good dancer.
Come on.
And I'm thinking
I'm like still gonna like follow you.
No, I don't.
Yoel, I want to follow you. You got to be native to the content, man.
You'll see. I'm not gonna dance. I got better ideas, but we'll get there. But for the time being, but Jonathan said, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Follow me instead, and over the next 3 months, I'm going to show you guys how you can actually create conversions through TikTok content. And I think that the idea that David had of using it to really create some more personalized level content is really, really interesting. And yes, we're talking about using TikTok and the content within the platform, but also what's really interesting is people are taking it off the platform, which tells me that there's a huge need for something else in these boring, like you said, your LinkedIn is the boardroom, like it's boring. And what's fantastic about TikTok is that it's the opposite of boring, in my opinion, anyways. And I also wanted to say about the demographic, it's not capped at 30. Like in the last 3 months, like my feed is just like rabbis and like 50-year-olds and like all kinds of crazy stuff. So we need to look at it from that perspective. And the last thing I wanted to say, based on what you said, Jonathan, is we really have an opportunity to consider who this is suitable for. And I think if the question is like TikTok B2B, absolutely. Just but you gotta look at your target audience. You gotta look at the demographics of the platform. You gotta do something. I think it's really interesting to catch people on a platform they're not expecting. Someone left a comment about whether it's appropriate to leave a B2B message and do people want to be hit there. No one wants to see B2B content on TikTok. But if you can find a way to do it,
remember Lemonade. Lemonade.
Yeah,
Lemonade's Instagram.
Yeah,
Lemonade's Instagram. That's a perfect example.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, listen. I mean, one of the things that marketing is driving towards now, and it's all about the personal relationship, the being a little bit more exposed, a little bit more adding a personality to a brand, and TikTok's a great place to do that.
Yeah, but I don't understand. I mean,
I think marketers need to be open to all kinds of different platforms today. We're not in a situation anymore where we can be, this is what we've been using until now. I'm comfortable with it, and that's all it is. We have to be open to other things.
Yeah, and it's
about definitely. But it's about getting the mix right. It's getting the mix right. That's all.
But when a client comes to me and they say, we have this budget and this is our target audience and here are our KPIs, I mean, the TikTok doesn't even cross my mind. And if you want to talk about target audiences, more of my target audience is on Tinder than TikTok, and the targeting there might even be better. So why don't I market and advertise on Tinder? Just saying.
And one day a client may, and Yael, one day a client may come to you and you may be perfect for TikTok, and you don't know.
You're closing deals in bars. Your audience is on TikTok. What are you selling? What are you selling?
Let's put it this way: you're not my target audience, Jonathan. No. That's how you know.
Is it a beard?
It's the beard. It's your sneakers. You have good sneakers again.
I knew it. Oh God.
They have to follow you on Snapchat earlier or Instagram to know that. All right. Anyway, yeah. So I think we actually agree on most of it, except for the privacy issues, obviously, and the morality. It seems like I break with most people.
No, I don't think anyone disagrees.
We agree.
I think
that wasn't the forum.
Yeah, it's just I think that there's just one last point from my end that I think was really important that Chris Lusk, who asked the question, Jonathan actually touched on, is it's all about the tonality, right? So, are people open to getting a B2B message when TikTok is like more of a downtime app? It's about the tonality of your message. If you're getting really serious and you're selling, I don't know, life insurance, probably not like the message shouldn't be that. But if you came up with some sort of, this is a really bad example, but some sort of funny video, you know what I mean? Like related to it. Maybe those guys with the coffin that are dancing, right? Like there's things you can do to get people's attention. And that's the business that we're in, is getting people's attention. So
well, that's definitely true.
Yeah, right.
I just want to add something to that, because there are going to be people watching this that don't really know much about TikTok and will consider this to be a dancing platform. And like, it's way more than that. There's so much varied content on there. There's a big push for educational content, how-to type content. You don't have to do dancing videos in order to be able to create content on TikTok. So, just for those that are watching that aren't really familiar with it and kind of struggle to understand how dancing could ever be related to B2B, the possibilities for content there are endless.
I think that's another point that you touched on, is that most people, video is fairly new to them. Past 6 months, huge boom in video, but until now, LinkedIn, everything was posting and posting links and text, and people are starting to get into that video thing. And TikTok is exclusively video, so people who aren't comfortable with that are still not there and not going in there. But as people get more comfortable with video, I think there's going to be more, to look at more creative and start using it more also.
Maybe, yeah. But I think, by the way, right, we all agree if you can target more people and bring in more branding, that's a really good move in general. But I still don't see the budgets and the targeting there. But she brought up a great point, is that and this goes for every platform, right? We said LinkedIn just started basically a place for CVs, and Twitter was a place to just talk about every little thing that you did. It was almost stupid when it started. And eBay just sold stamps in the beginning, and Amazon just sold books, and you thought, oh, this isn't related for me, I don't read books, why would I go to Amazon? Every business aspires to grow and provide more value. So it may not be relevant now in its current form, assuming it doesn't have the security and moral issues in the future. There's when that's gone, I think you should 100% start to download TikTok, look at it, consume it, spend $100 just to understand what's there and how to target. So as it adapts, you already kind of have an idea, so you can jump into it quickly. It can be more on your back burner as opposed to something you'd have to learn and kind of freshen yourself up, so you can rapidly be one of the earlier adapters when it suddenly becomes relevant.
At the very least, as marketers, it'll make our job a little bit more fun. So,
Or harder. I don't know.
I see Bradley brought an actual TikTok user onto the set.
I just want to say, it does make our jobs more fun, but also, as users, I've never.
Yeah.
I agree.
Best thing said this whole session.
Agreed.
And it's so addictive in terms of content consumption. So from a perspective of being able to capture people's attention and then have them scroll through 100 of your videos, that doesn't happen on any other platform like that.
That's true.
I spend way too much time on it, and I know that I'm not the only one. So there's that.
As an agency, sorry guys, as an agency, I'm gonna get all over that. And just for organic, I'm not gonna spend. You're right. Until you know that your money is going to deliver you more money, don't invest it, right, in anything. No matter if it's advertising or the stock market or whatever. But just for organic, just for playing around with it, just for having people pay attention to my message, and sorry, I know we're talking more branding, but to use that, absolutely, I'm going to use it. I'm going to test it now with some of the campaigns that we're using to re-engage leads that have gone dark, because I think it could be the next, it adds more to it than maybe Vidyard does. But why not? Especially all of us, if you're in the agency space, and you should definitely take advantage of new platforms. And not all of them are going to work. Some of them are going to be a disaster. But if you do get it right, then you were early in, as you've said, and you capture the market quicker. And everyone's always focused so much on competition that they forget that the whole game is actually Monopoly, right? Monopoly is much better game to play in than competition. Competition actually sucks. Right, it drives down prices. It gives us all a headache. If you were the only show in town, you were the only TikTok agency in town, you'll be printing money today. So,
not yet. You will be printing money if you're targeting the future.
Very soon, right?
No, Chinese
You're
money.
reading Peter Thiel right now, David?
He didn't finish the sentence.
Jonathan is going to come after you personally. Be careful.
You're right. They already are. But David, I assume I'm in the middle of reading Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. So what you're saying is very relevant, and it's true. Being a first mover, you kind of have you do have this advantage, just like monopoly advantage, if you continue to innovate and stay ahead in this sense. I know that because I was an early adopter to many things that crashed. Snapchat as a B2B marketer, so I stopped using it, and then I've been using Quora, and I'm the #1 most viewed subject for LinkedIn ads in the world. Is my profile. So you know what I mean? And that's growing. So I know it's there. And as I'm trying to look into Reddit, it's more difficult for me personality wise to enjoy Reddit. So I mean, I understand that, and that's why I basically ignore Twitter, because it's already matured. My time would be better invested in maturing platforms that I know are already proven, such as Quora and LinkedIn. So it still doesn't mean I shouldn't be on Twitter. It's just I have limited resources and time and finances, and that's where I decide to put them. But I mean, when the security thing comes and when you can start doing some targeting, some better targeting on TikTok, I mean, you should jump in with both feet for sure. And it might end up flopping. You know, Facebook can just steal all their ideas and it'll be called the end.
Like that comes back to where your audience is. I mean, being an early adapter, that comes back to where your audience is. If you're an early adapter on platforms, but none of your audience is, then that's not going to help.
Then it doesn't help you to be there.
Like I said, right. But it doesn't matter where your audience is. Can you target and communicate with them? Like I said, more of our target audience is on Tinder than TikTok. All of my clients, they are. And I don't say it's a joke because it's funny, but it's true. They are. For my B2B tech clients. I don't mean B2B2C or B to small b. I mean, that's where they are. But I mean, I don't market there either. It's also not a priority. I can go do branding there, you know, but that's just not. It's just not a priority. It's not. I just don't.
I have to cut out of this conversation. I'm sorry. I have another call. It was amazing talking to all of you. Thank you so much.
Take care, Yael. It was great meeting you too.
Thank you so much.
I do think we are kind of out of time. I just want to address Rosie sent in another comment, just kind of I think kind of what we mentioned, that marketing is cross-platform. If you're going to be in only one place, you're probably not doing too well. You have to be in a couple of places. You don't have to be everywhere. You absolutely should not be in every single network, because then you're going to be spread too thin and your audience isn't there. But you should definitely consider it as part of your mix. So we're
I just want to state real quick that on Tinder there was a couple of campaigns that were very successful. I think that a campaign for getting people dogs, for helping get like dogs adopted and stuff like that.
That's
cool. So yeah, again, it was cool. It got a ton of publicity. That's also really cool.
Where did you read that?
That was a while ago.
No, there's a lot of these things, by the way. I can give you some really weird ones.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, even Tinder, where it's not necessarily the place you would think you would go to like advertise, there's cool projects that are done like that also. So yeah, I'm not saying that this should be a one-off, but but it's an interesting perspective to think also of Tinder.
I know. By the way, there's obvious. Sorry to maybe end like this, but small fast food places do really well on porn websites. Usually up late alone. Fast food that delivers.
By the way, the Pornhub did that campaign with 1 billion impressions for free because of Corona.
By the way, you might want to give a little more context on Pornhub and their analytics. If not, people are going to think you're weird.
Okay, I get it.
People just might not understand the context.
No, it's fine. It's just my good friend is the one coming up with the creative ideas. I'm like, this is amazing, and then I guess you're right. It just looks like I'm.
If you don't want to give more context, that's your.
And I always order pizza. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just. All right, I'm sorry. That's the way we'll end the video now, people.
You can find Jonathan on Tinder.
So if you want to go around, closing comments, Yael, anything to close up with?
I mean, I think in its current state, your priority, the time in creating content, is definitely not worth it for a B2B perspective. Overwhelmingly, even for B2B, B2B2C, you can reach greater scale and better targeting on almost any other platform. And if you have TikTok on your phone, I would uninstall it immediately until it's safe. There's a reason. We don't think about it, but you never know where it's going to go. And I know I do live in a bubble because most of our clients are cybersecurity experts, and so they're much more aware of it. I acknowledge my bubble that the people that I speak to more are much more aware, and that's our clients. But it still doesn't mean that it's not legit. So it's nothing to worry about. However, if TikTok cleans up its game and gets acquired by Microsoft, and if the American government would say, let's say it's safe. Even, by the way, Amazon wanted its employees to take it off their phone. So don't just think it's just the U.S. government or things. And then they got pressure from China to have them to revert that. So don't think that China doesn't have pressure even on American corporations, let alone on individuals that are foreign. They do. But if it gets cleaned up, I would be installing it and waiting and seeing once there's a little bit of B2B marketing. You should totally put a few $100s at least in ads and make some content, put some time aside, and to see what you can do in the traction just to test the waters, because every marketer needs to know really what's going on there. Assume that it's safe. You shouldn't do anything unsafe. and whether we're talking about COVID or we're talking about technology and spying.
David, I know you want closing words?
Yeah, just look, adding on to Yael, I think no one's in a disagreement there. If the platform's unsafe and dangerous, don't use it. But it's all about knowing your audience, knowing your brand, knowing your voice, and aligning all of those, and also knowing when to use which medium at which stage of the funnel. So just like I shared earlier, if you can utilize some of the engagement factor of TikTok to re-engage leads, to re-engage prospects, to convert people, to build a voice around your brand, go for it, right? Assuming what Yael said is sorted out too.
Well, Jonathan, closing.
Safety first. I think that, again, I still think that
is that for Tinder or for TikTok?
It's for everything. Currently, I'm on Pornhub and Tinder. I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now. No, but I'm saying honestly, like, safety first, cool. Wear a condom. No, but honestly, I think that there's still a place to do campaigns, B2B campaigns there. Again, you need to fit into that equation of making sure that it is your demographic. I promise you that majority of people are on it. Like, they're on it, they're watching the content, maybe now a little less because of China. But there is an opportunity to do campaigns there. And I think that you can be a company who looks and says, wait, this is right for me, and make it work. And of course, the more tools we get, the same way I feel about LinkedIn, just as making just normal content, not paying for content, like to promote my content. I want more tools. The more tools I get, the more I feel invested, the more I can understand what to do with. So the moment that comes out, that'd be great too. But if I had to give an overall answer, can you do B2B marketing? I think you can. Would it be super duper effective or more effective than the other channels? Not yet.
All right. I think that's where you would come in. Your specialty here is really being creative and leveraging the creative, doing it in a creative way in order to get that attention. Right place, right time. Ready?
Yeah. I guess my closing comment is I'm really excited about what can be done here for B2B. Excuse the YouTube video in the back. What can be done for B2B businesses on TikTok. I absolutely believe there's a time and place for everything, and this may well be your time and place, so definitely look into it. And that, TikTok have released a number of different grants. They are going to be funding content creators. They're going to spend something like 200 million in the next year or so in funding content creators. And they're also giving grants to small, medium businesses for advertising. So I think you can get something like $300 advertising straight up, and then you can get up to $2,000. They'll match whatever you spend up to $2,000. So, there's a whole host of tools there for businesses if they do want to get started. And, I'm happy to chat to anybody who, wants to kind of talk it through and figure out whether it's for them or not. I'm happy to strategize and put heads together.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Thank you all for joining. I think this was a very interesting conversation. I think that this is kind of a question that a lot of people have on their mind, and I'm happy that we managed to get the entire funnel, the different stages of the funnel all in one place to discuss it. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thank you, David.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.